The lights on the medical ship Mercy's hand glowed soft blue. Dr. Hannah Park stood straight and tall in her crisp white uniform. Today was important. She would become the chief medical officer of this vessel. Hannah was 35 years old with short black hair and clever eyes. People said she had magic in her hands. She could fix injuries that seemed impossible to heal. Some said it was because of her special enhancements. Her reflexes were faster than normal humans. But Hannah knew it was more than that. It was care. It was focus. It was her promise to never give up on a patient. Captain Do-Yoon Kim watched from across the room. He was older than Hannah by 10 years, with a face that rarely smiled but eyes that saw everything. He had picked Hannah himself for this job. "Are you ready, Doctor?" he asked. Hannah nodded. "Yes, Captain." The oath ceremony was old, very old. It started on Earth thousands of years ago. Now humans had taken it to the stars. The words changed a little over time, but the meaning stayed the same. Healers must heal. That was their purpose. The room was full. The whole crew wanted to see this moment. Dr. Ji-ho Lee, the ship's expert on alien life, stood near the front. His round glasses caught the light as he smiled at Hannah. Next to him was So-min Kang, the medical tech expert who had once been a soldier. Her hands were rough from work, but gentle with the machines that kept people alive. Lieutenant Min Ji-yoon stood by the door in her black security uniform. She didn't smile. Her eyes moved constantly, checking for danger even here, in the safest place on the ship. No one knew much about Minji's past. She didn't talk about it. Hannah placed her hand on the ancient book. It wasn't paper. That would have turned to dust long ago. It was a special material that lasted through the ages. The words glowed on its surface. "I swear to preserve life," Hannah began, her voice clear and strong. "To ease suffering, to heal, without thinking about what species someone is or where they come from." The crew watched in silence. These were not just words. In space, these promises could mean life or death. "I will stand between death and those under my care," Hannah continued. "I will use my knowledge to help, never to harm. I will remember that. My patients are not just bodies, but people with fears and hopes." Captain Kim nodded slightly. This was why he had chosen her. Not just for her skills, but for her heart. "I will respect the secrets told to me and trust," Hannah said. "I will keep learning. I will teach others. I will remember that healing is both science and art." The final words were the most important. "Even in the face of danger, I will hold to these promises. This is my oath." A moment of silence filled the room. Then Captain Kim stepped forward. "Dr. Hannah Park," he said formally, "I accept your oath on behalf of this vessel and all who serve on it. You are now Chief Medical Officer of the Mercy's Hand." The crew clapped. Some smiled. Minji just nodded once. Hannah felt the weight of her new job settle on her shoulders. She had worked for this moment her whole life. First as a student on Earth, then as a doctor on the Mars colonies, and finally here, on a ship that would travel to the edges of human space. As the ceremony ended, people came to congratulate her. Ji-ho shook her hand warmly. "Wonderful speech," he said. "Though I hope we won't need your trauma skills often." So-min gave her a small smile. "Nice words, Doctor. Let's hope actions match them if things get bad." "They will," Hannah said simply. People started to leave. The day's work needed to be done. Mercy's Hand was not just a hospital ship, it was also a research vessel. They studied new planets, new life forms, and new diseases. They helped human colonies that had little medical care. They answered emergency calls. Hannah was alone with Captain Kim when the alarm sounded. It was not a drill. The sound was sharp and urgent. Red lights flashed along the walls. "Emergency transmission," said the ship's computer voice. "Priority 1. Captain Kim moved quickly to the communication panel. "Source?" he asked. "Outpost Helios," replied the computer. "Research station, edge of human space." Hannah felt a chill. Outpost Helios was the farthest human base. built on a moon around a gas giant in the Tau Ceti system. It was a place for brave scientists who wanted to find new things no human had seen before. The message appeared on the screen. It was broken, with parts missing. The face of a man appeared. He looked sick. His skin was pale and his eyes were red. Behind him, other people ran in panic. "This is Dr. Taehyun Choi of Outpost Helios," he said, his voice shaking. "We need immediate medical assistance, discovered in the ice samples, spreading fast, quarantine failing. Please, outbreak." The message cut off. "Captain." Kim turned to Hana. His face was serious. "Your first test comes quickly, Doctor." Hana nodded. "How far is Outpost Helios?" 3 days at maximum speed, said the captain. "I'll tell the crew to prepare for emergency jump." As he gave orders through his communicator, Hana thought about what she had just seen. The word outbreak was clear. Some kind of disease. But what kind? And how bad was it? She opened her tablet and began preparing. They would need isolation suits, medicines, equipment for testing unknown diseases. The quarantine section of the ship would need to be ready. This is what we're trained for, she told herself. But she felt worry growing inside her. The man in the message looked very sick and very afraid. Captain Kim finished giving orders and turned back to her. "Mercy's Hand will reach top speed in 30 minutes, he said. "We are the closest medical ship. There is no one else who can help them." "We'll be ready," Hana promised. As she hurried to the medical bay, her mind filled with questions. What had the scientists found in the ice? Was it a virus? A bacteria? Something else? How did it spread? How did it kill? Someone met her at the door to the medical bay. "I heard," she said, "an outbreak at Helios." "Yes," said Hana. "We need to prepare everything." "The xenobiology lab, too," said Jiho, joining them. "If this is a new life form, we need to study it to fight it." Minji appeared silently behind them. "Security protocols are activating," she said. "No one will enter or leave the quarantine section without proper clearance." The ship hummed as the engines powered up. Soon they would jump to faster than light, speed. Hana felt the floor vibrate under her feet. She thought about the oath she had just taken. "Even in the face of danger, I will hold to these promises." She had no idea how dangerous this mission would be, or how hard it would be to keep her promise, but she would try. That was what healers did. Outside the windows of the Mercy's Hand, stars began to blur as the ship accelerated. 3 days to Outpost Helios. 3 days to prepare for whatever waited for them there. 3 days passed quickly on the Mercy's Hand. Dr. Hana Park hardly slept. She spent her time getting ready for what waited at Outpost Helios. "We will arrive in 10 minutes, Captain Kim's voice said over the speakers. Hana stood in the medical bay. Her team moved around her, checking equipment one last time. "Isolation suits ready," said Soman, tapping on her tablet. "Full protection. Nothing gets in or out." "Medical kits packed," added Jiwoo, Hana's young assistant. His hands shook slightly. This was his first emergency mission. Dr. Jiho looked up from his screen. "I have studied all known diseases from this region of space. Nothing matches what we saw in that message. Then we'll learn something new today," Hana said. She tried to sound calm for her team. Lieutenant Minji entered the room. She carried a weapon on her hip. "Security team is ready," she said. 4 officers will go with the medical team." The ship slowed down. Through the windows they could see the gas giant planet. It was huge and orange with swirling clouds. Around it was the small moon where Outpost Helios sat. "Landing in 3 minutes," said the computer voice. Hana and her team put on their isolation suits. The suits were white and thick with clear helmets. They had their own air supply for 6 hours. Nothing could touch their skin. Soman helped Hana check her suit. "All seals good," she said. "Stay safe in there, Doctor." "You too," said Hana. "Remember, we don't know what we're facing. Take no risks." The ship landed with a soft bump. The screen in the medical bay showed the outside view. The outpost was a group of white buildings on the rocky ground. No one moved outside. All doors were closed. "No response to our calls," Captain Kim said over the radio. The outpost is in lockdown mode. We're going in, Hana said. She looked at her team. Stay together. Follow protocols. The landing door opened. Hana, Jiho, Soman, Jiwoo, and Minji with her security team walked out onto the moon's surface. The gravity was lighter than Earth's. Each step felt too easy, like they might float away. They reached the main door of the outpost. It was locked. Minji used the emergency override code. The door slid open slowly. Inside, the lights were flashing red. Warning signs covered the walls. Quarantine and biohazard in big letters. Hello? Hana called through her suit speaker. This is Dr. Park from the Mercy's Hand. We're here to help. No answer came. The hallway was empty. They moved deeper into the outpost. Everything was too quiet. Then they heard a sound. A low moan, like someone in pain. This way, Hana said, following the sound. They found the main lab. The door was partly open. Inside they saw people, but something was wrong with them. Dr. Taehyun Choi, the man from the message, was strapped to a bed. His body twisted and turned. His skin had a strange color, almost blue in places. Next to him, another scientist lay very still. Dr. Choi? Hana said, moving closer. Can you hear me? The man's eyes opened. They were red, but he seemed to recognize them. You came, he said, his voice weak. Thank you. What happened here? Hana asked, starting to check his vital signs through her suit gloves. Ice samples, Choi said, struggling to speak. From deep under the surface, we found something. Dormant. Not active for maybe millions of years. A virus? Jiho asked, already taking samples carefully. No. Choi shook his head. Larger, a parasite, microscopic but complex. It was frozen. We thought it to study it. And it woke up, Minji said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Choi whispered. It woke up, and it was hungry. Hana looked at the readings on her medical scanner. Choi's body was changing on the inside. His cells were being rewritten somehow. How does it spread? She asked urgently. Direct contact, Choi said. Body fluids. It entered through a small cut. We didn't even notice at first. By the time we realized, 5 of us were already infected. And the others? Minji asked, her hand near her weapon. Locked in their rooms. Some might still be clean. Others. His voice trailed off. Jiho was studying the samples he had taken from Choi's skin. He gasped. This is incredible, he said. The parasite isn't just living in his body. It's changing his DNA, adding new code. Can we stop it? Hana asked. I don't know yet, Jiho said. I've never seen anything like this. Soman was checking the other beds. 3 more infected in here, she reported. All showing similar changes. This one's heart rate is too fast. This one barely has a pulse. We need to get samples back to the ship, Hana decided. And we need to find the uninfected staff. They split into 2 groups. Hana, Jiho, and 2 security officers would stay with the infected. Somin, Jiwoo, and Minji with the other 2 officers would search for survivors. Hana started treating the infected as best she could. She gave them medicine to reduce pain and fever. She took more samples for Jiho to study. Look at this, Jiho said after a while. He showed her his scanner. The parasite is adapting. Each time it moves to a new host, it takes something from the old one. It's learning. Learning what? Hana asked. How to use our bodies better, Jiho said. See this change? The first, infected person's muscles are breaking down. But in Dr. Choi, they're being rebuilt stronger. A scream came from the hallway, then a crash. Soman? Minji? Hana called into her radio. What's happening? We found a survivor. Minji's voice came back, sounding tense. But something else found us too. Another crash. Then Minji shouted, Get back. A gunshot rang out, then another. What's going on? Hana demanded. One of the infected broke out of isolation, Minji said, breathing hard. But it's changed. It doesn't look human anymore. Are you safe? Hana asked. For now. We're in a storage room. Door locked. But that thing is strong. It's trying to break in. Hana looked at Dr. Choi. He was watching her with those red eyes. They change completely after about 48 hours, he said, quietly. The parasite takes full control, reshapes the body, makes it better, stronger, faster. Better for what? Hana asked. For spreading, Choi said. That's what it wants, to infect, to grow, to change everything it touches. We need to evacuate, said one of the security officers. Get these samples to the ship and leave. We can't leave people behind, Hana said firmly. Not the infected, not the trapped. I swore an oath. The oath didn't cover alien parasites that turned people into monsters, the officer argued. Before Hana could answer, her radio crackled again. The door is breaking, Soman said, her voice steady despite the danger. We can't hold it much longer. We're coming, Hana said. She turned to the security officers. Stay with Dr. Jiho. Keep studying the samples, I'll get the others. You can't go alone, Jiho protested. I'm not leaving my team, Hana said. She checked her medical kit and grabbed a sedative injector. This might slow down the infected one. She ran into the hallway, following the sounds of banging and shouting. She found the storage room. The metal door was bent inward. Something very strong was hitting it again and again. On the other side of the hall, something moved in the shadows. Hana froze. It had been human once. She could still see parts that looked like a face, like hands. But much had changed. The skin was blue-gray. The arms were too long. The eyes glowed red in the dim light. The thing saw her. It made a strange sound, not quite a growl, not quite a word. It moved toward her faster than she expected. Hana raised the injector. She had one chance to sedate it. The thing that had once been a scientist lunged at her, and Hana Park, who had sworn to heal, faced her first real test. The creature moved fast, but Hana was faster. Her enhanced reflexes let her step aside, just as the transformed human lunged at her. She pressed the injector against its neck as it passed. The sedative worked quickly. The creature stumbled, then fell to the floor. Its breathing slowed, but its red eyes stayed open, watching her. Hana, are you okay? Minji called from inside the storage room. Yes, Hana answered. The creature is down for now. Can you open the door? The bent door pushed open. Minji came out first, weapon ready. Behind her were Soman, Jiwoo, and a frightened woman in a lab coat. This is Dr. Kim Yoonji, Soman said. She's the only survivor we found so far. Yoonji stared at the sedated creature on the floor. That was Dr. Park Junho, she whispered. He was my friend. Hana looked at the creature with new eyes. Somewhere inside that changed body was a person, a doctor, like her. We need to get back. To the others, Minji said. More of these things could be loose. They hurried back to the main lab. Jiho was still working with the samples. The two security officers stood guard. We need to evacuate now, Minji told them. The infected are breaking free. It's not safe here. What about the other survivors? Hana asked. We checked as many rooms as we could, Soman reported. Most were empty or... She glanced at Yoonji. Or the people inside were already changed. Captain Kim's voice came through their radios. Medical team, report. What's happening down there? We have 5 infected patients who can be moved, 1 survivor, and samples of the parasite, Hana replied. But the situation is worse than we thought. Some infected have fully transformed and are dangerous. Return to the ship immediately, ordered the captain. We'll discuss next steps once you're safely aboard. Hana looked at Dr. Choi and the other infected patients. They would need special care to move them. Prepare the quarantine stretchers, she told her team. Full containment protocols. They worked quickly. The quarantine stretchers were sealed units with their own air supply. Nothing could get in or out. They moved the infected patients into them. Dr. Choi grabbed Hana's suit arm before they closed his stretcher. Be careful, he warned. It's smarter than you think. The trip back to the Mercy's Hand was tense. They moved as a tight group, security officers watching all directions. They saw shapes moving in the shadows of the outpost, but nothing attacked them. Once aboard the ship, they went straight to the quarantine section. It was a separate area that could be completely sealed off from the rest of the ship if needed. Decontamination first, Hana ordered. They stood in the airlock as sterilizing mist filled the room. Their suits were sprayed with chemicals that killed any microorganisms. Only then did they remove their helmets. Jiwoo took a deep breath of ship air. That was close, he said. It's not over, Soman reminded him. We still have infected people on board. Captain Kim met them in the quarantine area. He stayed on the clean side of a clear barrier. Dr. Park, what are we dealing with? Hana explained what they had learned. The parasite from the ice. How it changed its hosts. How it seemed to be learning with each new infection. Jiho showed his findings on a screen. The parasite rewrites DNA, he said. It changes the host to suit its needs. The longer it's in a host, the more changes it makes. And we've brought 5 infected people on board my ship, said Captain Kim, his face serious. How dangerous are they? The changes are still in early stages, said Hana. They're contained and sedated, but we need to find a treatment fast. What? About Soman? Asked Minji suddenly. Everyone turned to look at Soman. She was sitting against the wall, her face pale. What about me? Soman asked. Your suit, said Minji. When we were in the storage room, the creature hit you. I saw your suit tear. Soman looked down at her arm. There was a small rip in her isolation suit. Just a tiny tear, but enough. I didn't feel anything, she said. No scratch, no pain. We need to check you immediately, Hana said, trying to stay calm. If Soman was infected, the parasite was already inside her. They scanned Soman's body. At first, they found nothing. Then Jiho adjusted the scanner. There, he said, pointing to a small spot on the screen. It's very small, but it's there. The parasite. Soman's face didn't change. She was a soldier before she was a medical tech. She knew how to face bad news. What do we do? She asked simply. Standard protocol for unknown infection is isolation, and if necessary, removal from the ship, Captain Kim said from behind the barrier. No, said Hana firmly. I can develop a treatment. The parasite rewrites DNA. We can rewrite it back. That's not possible with our equipment, Jiho argued. We have to try, insisted Hana. I won't abandon a crew member. Captain Kim thought for a moment. You have 12 hours, Doctor. Then I must follow quarantine protocol to protect the ship. Soman nodded her understanding. If they couldn't cure her in 12 hours, she would be put off the ship in an escape pod. Left behind. Let's get to work, Hana said. They set up a lab inside the quarantine area. Hana and Jiho worked side by side, studying the parasite. Soman helped them, even though it was her life at risk. Hours passed. They made small progress. They learned that the parasite used special proteins to change DNA. They found ways to slow it down, but not stop it. Look at this, Jiho said suddenly. He pointed to a screen showing the cells from different infected patients. The parasites are all acting the same way at the same time, even though they're in different bodies. They're communicating? Hana asked. Yes, said Jiho. They act like one organism spread across many hosts, a collective. And look at this, Soman added. She had been monitoring brain activity in the infected. Their brain patterns are becoming similar, like they're sharing thoughts. A new worry hit Hana. This wasn't just a disease, it was something new, something that could think. As they worked, the infected patients began to change more rapidly. Their skin darkened, their muscles grew. Sometimes they spoke words that made no sense. It's like they're learning our language, Jiwoo said nervously. Somin was beginning to show signs of infection too. Small blue marks appeared on her arm where the tear in her suit had been. Kill me, she said during a moment when the others were across the room. Please, before I hurt someone. No, Hana replied. I promise to heal you, and I will. But that night, while the others slept briefly, Soman's transformation accelerated. The parasite had been studying humans. It had learned from the previous hosts. It knew how to work faster now. Soman broke free from her restraints. She was stronger than before. Her eyes had turned red. She moved to the door of the quarantine section. The ship's systems should have stopped her. But somehow, the parasite knew how to override them. It had learned from the human minds it shared. Alarms blared throughout the Mercy's hand. Sections of the ship went dark as emergency protocols activated. Hana woke to chaos. Soman was gone. The quarantine had been breached, and the creature that had once been their friend was loose on the ship. Red emergency lights flashed throughout the Mercy's hand. The ship's computer voice repeated the same message over and over. Warning, quarantine breach, all crew to safety stations. Hana ran from the lab to find Jiho and Jiwoo already awake. Lieutenant Minji rushed in through the door, her weapon drawn. What happened? Minji demanded. Soman broke free, Hana explained quickly. The parasite made her stronger than we expected. We need to find her before she infects others, said Jiho. He checked the scan of Soman's body from earlier. The changes are happening too fast. The parasite is adapting. Captain Kim's voice came through the speakers. Dr. Park, report to the bridge immediately. We have a situation. I'll go with you, said Minji. It's not safe to move around the ship alone. They moved carefully through the corridors. Some sections were dark where power had been cut. They heard strange sounds in the distance, scratching, thumping, like something was moving through the walls. When they reached the bridge, they found Captain Kim looking at security screens. His right arm was wrapped in a bandage, blood seeping through. You're hurt, Hana said, moving to check his injury. I encountered your friend Soman, the captain said grimly. She's not herself anymore. Hana examined his arm. Deep cuts tore through the muscle. These need proper treatment, she said. Later, Captain Kim waved her away. We have bigger problems. He pointed to the screens. They showed different parts of the ship. In one screen, a crew member ran down a hallway looking back in fear. In another, a shape moved in the shadows too fast to see clearly. How many crew are unaccounted for? Asked Minji. 12, said the captain. Some may be hiding. Others. He didn't finish the sentence. The remaining crew had gathered in the medical bay, which had been turned into a command center. People were frightened. Some were hurt. We need to purge the infected sections, Captain Kim ordered through gritted teeth as Hana treated his wounds. There are still crew members out there, she argued. They're already gone, Doctor, Minji said softly. I've seen what happens. There's nothing left of them to save. Jiho and Jiwoo arrived, carrying equipment from the quarantine lab. I've made a breakthrough, Jiho said. He showed them his screen. The organism isn't just combining DNA randomly, it's specifically seeking out traits that will help it survive in space. Hana looked closer. What do you mean? See these changes. Radiation, resistance, ability to survive in vacuum, protection from extreme temperatures. Jiho pointed to different parts of the scan. It's building itself a perfect body to travel between stars. It wants to spread beyond this ship, Minji realized, beyond humans. The thought was terrifying. If the entity reached a populated system, there would be no stopping it. We need to destroy it now, said Captain Kim. We'll evacuate essential crew to the escape pods and set the ship to self-destruct. As they spoke, the ship's communication system came to life. A voice that sounded almost like Soman's but with strange echoes filled the room. Humans of the Mercy's hand, it said. We speak to you. Everyone froze. The parasite was talking to them. Who are you? Captain Kim asked. We are the Prime, the voice replied. We were before your kind walked. We slept in ice until you woke us. What do you want? Hana asked. To grow, to learn, to spread. The voice was calm, reasonable. We do not wish to destroy. We wish to combine, to evolve together. You're taking over our bodies, Jiho said angrily, changing us without permission. Yes, the voice agreed. This is how we exist. We improve what we touch. Your bodies are weak, we make them strong. Hana thought quickly. The parasite was intelligent. It could communicate. Maybe it could be reasoned with. If you kill your hosts, you won't spread far, she said. You need us alive. A pause. Then, yes, this is true. We are learning to balance. The first combinations were imperfect. We damaged our hosts. Now we understand better. On the security screens, they could see Soman. Her body had changed dramatically. She was taller, stronger. Her skin was blue-gray with patterns like circuits. Her eyes glowed red in the dim light, but she wasn't attacking anyone. She stood still, as if waiting. We offer a deal, the voice said. We will spare the surviving crew if Dr. Park agrees to help us understand human bodies better. Hana was shocked. How do you know my name? We know what our hosts know, the voice replied. Soman respects you. She believes you can help us coexist. Don't listen, warned Captain Kim. It's trying to trick you. You promised to heal, the voice reminded Hana, using words from her oath ceremony. Even us. Hana faced an impossible choice. Her oath to heal all beings against her duty to protect humanity from a threat that could destroy everything. I need time to think, she said. You have 1 hour, the voice replied. Then we will continue to grow, with or without your help. The communication ended. Everyone on the bridge looked at Hana. You're not actually considering this, Minji asked in disbelief. We could learn from them too, Jiho said thoughtfully. If they're truly intelligent, maybe coexistence is possible. Or maybe they'll learn enough about us to spread faster, countered Captain Kim. This is a trick. Hana walked to a quiet corner. She needed to think. Her oath was to heal, yes. But healing sometimes meant making hard choices. An idea began to form in her mind. The parasite changed DNA. It adapted. It learned. But what if they could teach it something new? Something beyond just survival and spread? She returned to the group. I need access to the genetics lab, she said. And I need to speak with the Prime again. What are you planning? Asked Captain Kim. A third option, Hana replied. Not destruction, not surrender. Something else. Captain Kim studied her face, then nodded slowly. You have 1 hour, Doctor. Then I must think of the safety of all humanity. Hana worked quickly with Jiho. They used what they had learned about the parasite to create something new, a modified version of the organism's own genetic code. Will this work? Jiho asked as they finished. I don't know, Hana admitted, but we have to try. When the hour was up, the ship's communication system activated again. What is your answer, Dr. Park? The Prime asked. I will help you, Hana said, but not here. I need to meet with you directly. Silence, for a moment. Then, come to the Arboretum. Come alone. That's suicide, Minji protested. I'm not going to surrender, Hana assured her. I'm going to offer an alternative. She took the sample she and Jiho had created. It looked like a small vial of glowing blue liquid. She also took a medical injector. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, follow the captain's orders, she told them. The Arboretum was in the center of the ship. It was filled with plants from Earth and other worlds, meant to provide oxygen and fresh food. Now, it was transformed. Strange growths covered the walls. The plants had changed, growing in new patterns. Someone waited for her there. Or what had once been Soman. The Prime. You came, it said, using Soman's voice. As a healer should. Yes, Hana replied calmly. But not to surrender. She held up the vial of glowing liquid. What is that? The Prime asked. A choice, Hana answered. A better way forward for both of us. The Arboretum was beautiful in a strange way. Plants twisted into new shapes. Flowers glowed with soft blue light. The air smelled sweet and strange. In the center stood what had once been Soman, The Prime. Its red eyes watched Hana carefully. "What choice do you offer?" it asked, moving closer to her. Its movements were smooth now, not jerky like before. It was learning to use its new body better. "You change DNA," Hana said, holding up the vial of glowing liquid. "You take over bodies. But there is another way to exist, a way without harm." "Explain," said the Prime. "This contains a modified version of your own genetic code," Hana said. "One that would allow you to live independently, not inside unwilling hosts." The Prime tilted, its head curious. "We need hosts to live." "You needed them because that was the only way you knew," Hana corrected. "But you can evolve, become something new." She gestured at the changed plants around them. "You've already started. These plants are changed, but they still live. They glow now. They grow differently, but they aren't destroyed." "A symbiosis," the Prime said. It had learned this word from its host's memories. "Living together with benefit to both." "Yes," Hana agreed. "Instead of consuming us, you could work with us, share with us, we both could grow." The Prime walked in a circle around Hana, thinking. Its footsteps made small glowing marks on the floor that faded slowly. "Why would you help us evolve?" it asked. "We threatened your kind." "Because that's what healers do," Hana answered. "We find ways for life to continue without causing harm. You can evolve without destroying. I can show you how." What the Prime didn't know was that Hana's treatment contained more than just a way for the organism to live independently. It also had a genetic lock that would remove its ability to force itself into unwilling hosts. "We must consider," said the Prime. It placed a hand on the wall. The strange growths pulsed as if sending a message through them. Hana realized the Prime was communicating with the other infected people throughout the ship. The whole collective was talking, deciding. "I will broadcast a message to my crew," Hana said, lifting her communicator. The Prime nodded. Hana pressed the button. "This is Dr. Park. I'm speaking to everyone on the Mercy's hand. I'm offering the Prime a new way to exist. A symbiosis, not a takeover. Remember the oath we all took. We preserve life, all life, but never at the expense of choice. That's the true meaning of healing." She looked directly at the Prime. "Will you trust me? Will you try to evolve in a new way?" The Prime was silent for a long moment. Then it extended its arm. The blue-gray skin rippled. "We will try," it said. Hana loaded the vial into her injector. She stepped forward and placed it against the Prime's arm. She pressed the button. The glowing liquid flowed into the transformed body. At first, nothing happened. Then the Prime gasped. It fell to its knees. Its body began to glow from within, the same blue as the liquid. "What is happening?" it asked, voice strained. "Your body is separating," Hana explained, kneeling beside it. "The human part and the parasite part are dividing." The process looked painful. The Prime's body shook, its skin cracked in places, leaking blue light. But Hana stayed close, monitoring the changes with her scanner. "It's working," she said. "Just hold on." After several tense minutes, something remarkable happened. The blue glow separated from Sumin's body. It pulled away like a second skin, forming a shimmering shape that hovered in the air. Somin collapsed to the floor, gasping. "Somin?" Hana called, checking her vitals. "Can you hear me?" "Yes," Somin whispered. She looked up at Hana with normal eyes, not red ones. "I'm me again." The blue light formed into a crystalline structure floating above them. It pulsed gently as if breathing. "Prime?" Hana asked, looking at the crystal. "We are here," came a voice, not from Somin's mouth but somehow from the crystal itself. "We are changed." Throughout the ship, the same thing was happening. The infected crew members were separating from the parasite. The parasites were forming crystal structures that glowed with inner light. Captain Kim and a security team burst into the arboretum, weapons ready. They stopped in shock at the sight before them. "What did you do?" the captain asked. "I kept my promise," Hana said simply. I healed everyone I could. The transformation spread through the ship over the next hours. All infected humans were freed. The parasite beings, now called the luminous symbionts by Jiho, formed crystal structures that could communicate and move independently. Soman recovered in the medical bay with Hana watching over her. "I'm not fully human anymore, am I?" Soman asked, looking at her arm. Small blue patterns remained on her skin like glowing tattoos. "No," Hana admitted. "The parasite changed some of your DNA permanently, but the changes aren't harmful. Some might even be helpful. You have faster healing now, better resistance to radiation. And I can still hear them sometimes," Soman said. "The symbionts in my mind. Not controlling, just talking." The ship was heading back to Alliance space. Captain Kim sent messages ahead, explaining what had happened. The response was not what they hoped for. "The Alliance wants us to destroy all traces of the symbionts," Captain Kim told Hana. "They consider them too dangerous." "No," Hana said firmly. "These are new life forms now. They aren't a threat anymore." "The Alliance disagrees," said the captain. "They've ordered me to eject the crystals into space and sterilize them with radiation." Hana stood straight and tall, just as she had during her oath ceremony. "I won't allow it. I swore to preserve life." "This isn't your decision, Doctor," the captain said, though his voice was gentle. "Orders are orders." "Then I'll stand between death and those under my care," Hana quoted from her oath. "Even when those under my care aren't human." The captain looked at her for a long moment, then he sighed. "I need time to consider this. The Alliance won't be happy." In the end, a compromise was reached. The luminous symbionts would be studied in a secure facility. Those who wished to work with them could do so, forming voluntary bonds. The symbionts could share their unique abilities with willing partners. Over time, the symbionts became valued allies to humans. They offered special biological insights and abilities to those who joined with them. The blue glow of their crystal forms became common on research stations and medical ships, and Dr. Hana Park was remembered not just as the doctor who saved her ship, but as the human who taught an alien predator how to heal instead of harm. Years later, Hana stood in the medical bay of a new ship. A young doctor was taking the healer's oath before her. Behind them, a luminous symbiont floated, watching with interest. "I swear to preserve life, to ease suffering, to heal without prejudice of species or origin," the young doctor said. The words were the same, but they meant more now. There were more kinds of life in the universe than humans had ever imagined. Hana smiled. Her promise had been kept. And in keeping it, she had changed the future for everyone. The end.